The World card here is an end to a cycle, a karmic cycle, a graduation, something that you've learned. Maybe you've become an expert on being the Queen of Wands, letting your Queen of Wands energy show, and also pulling back your energy every once in a while and using that energy of the Hanged Man to continue to challenge yourself and to allow yourself to have new ideas and new growth. So, hi Pisces, Bailey B hanging out for another intuitive reading to help you explore your subconscious and see what's going on. Thank you for being here. I intend for this reading to give you something fascinating to think about, and I hope you can use that information to lead you to more safety and more fulfillment. I want you to check in with your own intuition to see what feels true and only pick up what's resonating with you. Today I have the Osho Zen Tarot deck, and we're going to pull out 3 to start. I hope you've had a really nice weekend, Pisces, and that your week is starting well. Press the like button if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate that. Exchange some energy with me here so we can feel each other's back and forth. Those Pisces and the people watching this video right now need to know for this week. Let's get 3 cards for Pisces. Ooh, there's 2. Intensity and guidance. Wow, that's crazy. Look at both of these cards here. They're both 2 almost like winged figures racing towards a certain point here. In intensity, this person is alone and is pointed like an arrow, very sharp, very determined, almost like a strained look on their face. But here with guidance, you see an angel, also very pointed and determined, but their face is not as strained. It's more of like a floating into this point of light. And then behind them, you see they're carrying kind of a reluctant or somebody who's can't quite look directly at the light. So, but because they can't look directly at the light, they're being guided here by this higher power. So a lot of interesting movement in these first 2 cards here. Let's see what else we have for you, Pisces. There's 1 more card for Pisces. We got 2 more. Schizophrenia and politics. Interesting. So not all rainbows here. We'll see what those are with clarifiers, and we'll also get out the Osho Zen guidebook and read a little bit of what Osho and Deva Padma, the illustrator, what their intentions were with these cards. So the sister card for intensity is the Knight of Wands. So you can imagine the Knight of Wands is like galloping with this fiery wand in his hand toward a passionate type destination. And this is similar here with intensity, but I want to read what Osho, the Zen master, has to say about this card because it's really interesting. Actually, I'll just keep this up here for you to see it. Okay, so Zen says, think of all the great words and teachings as your deadly enemy. Avoid them because you have to find your own source. You have not to be a follower, an imitator. You have to be an original individual. You have to find your innermost core on your own, with no guide, no guiding scriptures. It is a dark night, but with the intense fire of inquiry, you are bound to come to the sunrise. Everybody who has burned with intense inquiry has found the sunrise. Others only believe. Those who believe are not religious. They are simply avoiding the great adventure of religion by believing. That's really, really interesting and wise if you think about it. When you believe, you kind of stop questioning or inquiring, and it stops you from figuring out your own answers when you're just looking at things like religion and scripture to give you the answers. So that's a really interesting perspective there. So clearly you are meant to, Pisces, come up with your own direction, your own path, your own spiritual growth regime, if you will. And it's all coming from within you, not from an outside source. All right, so guidance is the Three of Pentacles, or the sister card of it. So the illustrator has commented here, the angelic figure with rainbow-colored wings on this card represents the guide that each of us carries within. Like the second figure in the background, which I pointed to earlier, we may sometimes be a little reluctant to trust this guide when it comes to us, because we are so accustomed to taking cues from the outside rather than from the inside. Trust your own deepest being is trying to show you where to go right now. And when this card appears, it means you can trust your inner guidance you are being given. It speaks in whispers, and sometimes we can hesitate, not knowing if we have understood rightly. But the indications are clear. In following the inner guide, you will feel more whole, more integrated, as if you were moving outward from the very center of your being. If you go with it, this beam of light will carry you exactly where you need to go. So it is very difficult to trust that inner knowing and that inner light, especially when we don't know what the outcome will be. So this is about trust, trusting yourself, trusting your inner guidance. And it's very similar to the first card there, but a lot of talk about light and your inner light, that inner fire that you follow, that you can't necessarily explain to other people, but you know is there and you trust personally. Sometimes you might hesitate though, but I think this is a call for us to be looking to that inner voice, that deep down knowing, and use that to make decisions rather than outside input right now. All right, so these last two cards are both swords. We've got the Two of Swords and the Seven of Swords here. Schizophrenia is about being caught between what you want your real life to be and what your day-to-day is. It's sort of like you know one thing to be true and you want one thing, but what you're living day-to-day is different from that. And so you experience this kind of schizophrenia where you're living two different people in two different worlds. So is this politics card. This is about the mask that we put on when we play politics. And so right here, I'm getting a feeling that it's a time where we need to become more authentic with who we are in order to align these two different sides of ourselves, the inner self and the outer self. It's not easy, and we learn to do these things for self-protection over time, but the older we get, the more we can take control of our circumstances and the influences that we grew up with, and we can make a conscious decision to at least bridge this gap more and more between the two sides of the way we operate, the place within us that we know we want to be versus the place outside where the two don't always match up. And so I think this is really interesting way of showing us, like putting a mirror to our face and saying, this is where we are right now, and we'd like to move away from that. So it's a call to trust yourself, trust your inner being, and to be brave enough to take this mask off and bring the reality that you want, that you've been dreaming of in your head, closer to your current reality in your 3D world right now. All right, so let's get some clarifiers out for intensity here. Or maybe just the whole story. Maybe I won't go thing by thing. Tell me another story that we can guide Pisces with here. What does Pisces need to know about their story right now? Ooh, I knew like a couple wouldn't be enough. Alright, so we've got the Queen of Wands, the Hanged Man, the World, the Devil, and the Three of Cups. What do we have on the back of this? The Ace of Wands. Okay, craziness. Let's get these stacked here according to the camera. Okay. Wow, a lot of major arcana here. And this Ace of Wands, which is a new passionate beginning that you're not seeing coming towards you on the back of the deck, which I love for us, Pisces. So, the Queen of Wands is an eccentric. They are somebody who loves art, music, dancing, just anything that celebrates being human and being creative and also otherworldly. As soon as I said human, it's kind of like, but then also the parts of us that are spiritual and just very flowing and ecstatic. This is the energy that the Queen of Wands brings. Also, this sense that even as an outsider, even as somebody that is outside of the mold, the typical mold, you can blossom and have lots of sunshine here with this sunflower that the Queen of Wands is holding. So starting there, this is a call for you to embrace your inner wild child and artist and your inner creative, and let that sort of guide you in your path right now. We also have the Hanged Man, which is your energy, Pisces. This is taking a new perspective to learn a lesson, taking something that might be a little uncomfortable and having a time to reflect and a time to literally see things from a different perspective. And I know this sounds a little silly, but in my yoga practice, I often will do inversion poses, and they do literally, when you open your eyes and you're inverted, you see the world from a different perspective. And if you stay there for a while and kind of take in that world that you're seeing upside down, it does kind of change your paradigm a little bit. It's a fun practice. It also is good for the blood flow to your head. But just on that basic level, it's kind of an interesting practice to do physically. Like, take this literally and hang upside down for a little while, Pisces. Unless you have some sort of medical condition that prevents you from doing that, in which case you can practice this in your mind. But I think it's very interesting to contemplate the different layers of the Hanged Man card. I also really like looking at it upside down, because the Hanged Man becomes right side up, and all of a sudden it's this wonderful like resting yoga pose that the Hanged Man is in, and their crown is just glowing and their hair is standing straight up, just like at attention. There's a lot of positivity in this card for me. So I think taking that different perspective, practicing detaching from your own perspective every once in a while, can actually be a very fun and joyous activity that can keep us inquiring, as the Knight of Wands was talking about earlier, that intensity, the intense inquiry that helps us or allows us to discover our own truth, which is like the great adventure of life, right? And taking this time out for a different perspective is one of the tools that we use to discover our own truth. The World card here is just an end to a cycle, a karmic cycle, a graduation, something that you've learned. Maybe you've become an expert on being the Queen of Wands, letting your Queen of Wands energy show, and also pulling back your energy every once in a while and using that energy of the Hanged Man to continue to challenge yourself and to allow yourself to have new ideas and new growth. So the World is here to say you've mastered that cycle. Congratulations. This is huge in terms of creativity, productivity, and just mastery of your day-to-day activities. This could mean that you're starting to really get in the flow of a routine and you kind of leveled up in terms of your personal care, your self-care, and all the things that you're doing in your life on a daily basis to improve and make your life worth living, worthwhile. All the little juicy things that you can do to make life a better place for yourself. What is dying here, Pisces? This is the devil, and I guess it's not a guarantee that this leads to a death. You could be stuck here with this codependent energy of the devil. This also could mean overindulgence or using too much of the earthly pleasures, the senses, sensuality, to become addicted to it. Like, and I don't mean this like sexually exclusively. It also could mean like, overindulging in something like chocolate cake, or something like that, binge watching TV too much to the point where like yourself that it's like not a great idea. I'm not talking like Netflix and chilling in a good way where it's like your favorite thing to do on a Friday night. I'm talking like it's Tuesday morning and we're still in bed from Friday night. And it's not because we're burnt out or like sick or needing rest. It's just because like we just couldn't be bothered to get up. Oh, can you tell I don't have kids? I'm kidding. But it is, I like, we can all relate to this energy, right? Where we just know that the thing we're doing isn't the best for us, but we're doing it anyway, indulging in that. There's also a person that we play to please others here with the Three of Cups. This is like a group of people spending time together, talking, chatting, could be even like gossiping, but like your social circle. And this being under the 2 and 7 of Swords, schizophrenia, and politics, this could be maybe what the problem area is for you. So in your mind, you might have a problem with like how people or how you're perceiving people perceiving you, if that makes sense. Like, what do you think people are thinking of you? Maybe it is not even what you think it is. Maybe they're not thinking of you. But the codependency part is that it keeps you stuck or hanging on to a certain way of being or acting or making decisions that's no longer serving you. You've kind of graduated on a certain level, and I think this is maybe the next step of this graduation or this growth process is you questioning what it is that keeps you stuck when you think about others in your social circle. Is it their opinions of you? Is it your opinions of them? Is there like a control aspect? Are you trying to control their behavior? Are they trying to control your behavior? Do you care so much about the approval of these people that you put on this mask, or you're not living a life that you fully love because you're afraid of how other people might see you or what they might think of this life that you fully love? This can also just be like family obligations that we have. It doesn't have to be anything nefarious. It can just be, that thing that's holding you back from moving to a new place or moving jobs or maybe taking a pay cut. Things that don't always involve just us. We have to think of others while making these decisions can lead us feeling stuck or like we're living a life inauthentically or for other people, which, is always just something to think about, Pisces. It's not necessarily a bad thing, and we can't always do something about this. It's a timing thing, right? When we can let go of these obligations. But I think the more we question what is for us and what is for others, and the more we embrace what makes us unique, we embrace continually growing and embracing new perspectives, congratulating ourselves on these graduations and growth periods, but also not letting go of the fact that we do have a lot of blocks and a lot of conditioning, a lot of outside influences that keep us from being who we really want to be and doing what we really want to do. And it's always worth taking a look at what those things are that are stopping us from this intensity and moving forward. What is this inner guidance that you're feeling that you're not quite letting out and you might be feeling stuck inside of you? There's something burning here, Pisces, that is asking you to acknowledge it. This Ace of Wands, it's this wand here that the Queen is holding, the Ace of Wands that's being offered to you, the wand in the Knight of Wands here that's lighting your way and leading you forward towards your passion. So these are all questions I think that are great for us to be asking ourselves right now, Pisces. How can we continue to bridge the gap to be our more authentic selves everywhere, even with these people around us that might expect differently from us? We don't need to placate other people's expectations. We just need to find our authentic selves and be able to show people who that is more and more, and feel more and more safe to do so, while letting go of the chains of their perception of us, or what we think their perception of us is. That, is not always the truth either. So this is something I think we can all work on, Pisces. I'm here right there with you learning this lesson right now. Let me get one more card out here for advice for you, Pisces, before we go. Let's get another Osho card. What is the piece of advice for Pisces closing out the reading? What do we have for advice for Pisces here? Ooh, I should grab that one. New vision. You can't see that, but here it is. This is dancing, flowing, growing, creating, being a changed being. Look at down here at the bottom, there's this figure kind of crawling as if that's the rooting down into the earth, and then this figure is sprouting into the leaves that are his or her stability at the bottom. And then as the stability grows even higher, there are wings that are sprouting. It gets more fluid here, and then their eyes are looking towards the sky in this like sort of radiant fan, where they're in awe of these other stars and these other worlds and entities beyond their existence. So it is new vision, but it seems to me this growth process of like all of our chakras being activated and starting at the bottom and then really working on each phase of growth until we reach the top there and we have this open awareness. So let's read the book on this, because I really want to get a little bit more juice for you, Pisces. All right, so this is really deep, Pisces. Let's see what you think of it. I'd love to know in the comments below. When you open up to the ultimate, immediately it pours into you. You are no longer an ordinary human being. You have transcended. Your insight has become the insight of the whole existence. Now you are no longer separate. You have found your roots. Otherwise, ordinarily, everybody is moving without roots, not knowing from where their heart goes on receiving energy, not knowing who goes on breathing in them. Not knowing the life juice that is running inside them. It is not the body, it is not the mind. It is something transcendental to all duality that is called the ultimate in all 10 directions. Your inner being, when it opens, first experiences 2 directions, the height, the depth. And then slowly, as this becomes your established situation, you start looking around and spreading into all other 8 directions. And once you have attained the point where your height and your depth meet, then you can look around to the very circumference of the universe. Then your consciousness starts unfolding in all 10 directions, but the road has been won. So, really interesting with the sacred geometry here and talking about opening up in all directions. I think this is really a confirmation of the fact that we're being asked to take new perspectives in, open up our mind to many different directions that we could be going in or facing, many different perspectives that we're contemplating right now, even contemplating different ways of living, different ways of existing in the world. All of these things are on the table at the moment, and I think we're being called to free ourselves to explore all of those options in all 10 directions. Rather than just sticking to the traditional up and down, left, right. Even when those around us don't quite understand our new direction or don't see the vision, we can be convinced that our own inner vision is correct and that it is leading us somewhere special, somewhere very true for us, and that's going to be ultimately much more fulfilling and vibrant and just full of life than we could ever even imagine if we take this chance to expand ourselves. I want to read the artist's summary as well. It's just too good. The figure on this card is being born anew, emerging from his earthbound roots and growing wings to fly into the unbounded. The geometric shapes around the body of the figure show the many directions of life simultaneously available to him. The square represents the physical, the manifest, the known. The circle represents the unmanifest, the spirit, pure space. And the triangle symbolizes the threefold nature of the universe: manifest, unmanifest, and the human being who contains both. Now you are presented with an opportunity to see life in all its dimensions, from the depths to the heights. They exist together, and when we come to know from experience that the dark and the difficult are needed as much as the light and the easy, then we begin to have a very different perspective on the world. By allowing all life's colors to penetrate us, we become more integrated. So I'll leave you with that, Pisces. Accept the dark and the light as both necessary and teachers, and you will start to see the blessings unfold in your life and become so much more ecstatic about living. So I really hope this resonated with you and it brought you some hope and excitement for your future this week, Pisces. Comment down below where you guys are at and what time you're watching this, just out of curiosity. I want to see who all is out there. And if you want a birthday shout out, leave your first name and the day of your birthday, and I will say hello on your birthday. You could also just give me a Vulcan salute down in the comments too. That just really helps us continue to grow and helps the algorithm push the video out to more people so they can see it. And I can keep continuing to come back and hang out with y'all. So I really appreciate it. Consider subscribing if you like my content, and I will be here the day after tomorrow for another intuitive reading for you, Pisces. Also, a very special birthday shout out to Jamie. It's March 10th. Happy birthday. I hope it's everything that you were hoping for. Lots of joy, fun, and friends and family. At the very least, lots of self-love. So I hope you get to give yourself a lot of self-love. Happy birthday again, Jamie, and thank you for being here and being a part of the BaileeBee Bouquet. Sending you so much love, and I hope you live long and prosper.